Hey, this is Meta Dead from the Dead Deads, and you're listening to Interview Under Fire.
I remember watching an interview. I think it was just came out a couple days ago. How he used to be Doomy Dead.
Precious, isn't it?
That was so funny. I was like, oh my god. That, I mean, it was just the name would like just catch on. If you did you ever like tour with that name, or did you just like?
Yeah, our tour with Hailstorm, I was Doomy Dead. I'm pretty sure.
That's
yeah. It just started hitting me like. And really that name, I also always wanted to do a country album with the name, like, I forget what my last name was, but I had this great like country moniker that was Doomy and like Dolly, you know, and
yeah.
I never thought of it that way. And I guess that's just being dumb. I don't know. I just was like, not that I'm not asexual. I just don't think about it, I guess. Doom, I see the word doom. Doom is such a magnificent, powerful, awesome word. So I wasn't even hearing the other thing.
It's a dominant word. I mean, it's
so badass.
It matches with the persona. And then of course it's like, wait, Doomy Dead. Okay, that's actually hilarious. So anyway.
Me till I die. Yeah, not ideal.
Anyway, that's that for people who don't know about that. I think that's a really cool fact. All right then, everyone, welcome back to a brand new episode of Interview Under Fire. This is once again your host Sunny, this time along with the talented Metadead, or Tish Metadead, however you know her. It's an honor. Thank you so much for joining our IUF series today. Now, Tish, these are some exciting couple of months coming up for you and the rest of the girls over at the Dead Deads with the release of your new studio album, Tell Your Girls It's All Right, drops August 20th on Rumble Records. And first things first, I want to commend you ladies on all the well-deserved reactions it's been getting so far, especially with those singles In For Blood, Hey Girlfriend, Deal With Me, and Murder Ballad Part 2, which features obviously your collaboration with Corey Taylor. Yeah. Shout out to the other revered music artists like Paul Stanley, Eric Singer, Lizzie Hale, who've, to name a few, who have praised your work. You know, plenty of amazing things to unravel about this album and what you guys are all about. I'm going to stop talking here because before we get to all that and beyond, I'm going to ask you, how are you? I know it's an important question to ask these days. It's a simple one, but how's life in Nashville? How have been things for you since, you know, a year and a half? We've been removed from the live concert experience. You know, how are you right now?
Great. I just went into a coma like right when it started, and I just woke up like a couple weeks ago. Like nothing's happened to me. You know, what's everybody else been up to?
that's the question. And I think I remember getting the news that you were in the hospital, like right when the pandemic started. You were ill, and
I was in the hospital, and then I was home recuperating from a surgery for a month, and then the pandemic started. So yeah, I was already like in bed, not going anywhere, not seeing anyone. And then it was like, oh, so I'm going to keep doing this for a year. Okay. Like, well, that's fine. No, I think everybody had negative and positive outcomes from it. And yeah. I'm one of those weirdos who still doesn't think we're through it. You know, I'm a little shocked by all the shows coming back so soon.
Same.
So, you know, we're going to dip our toes into that slowly and carefully. We do not have a tour plan right now for the album release. We'll do some very small shows that'll just be like, you know, closed capacity or whatever, maybe just regionally. But yeah, we're excited for the moment when we can go full tilt into it, you know. But yeah, it was just really a time to rest and reflect and see what we could do to help others. Honestly, just, you know, you're just checking on your neighbors, both, you know, your actual neighbors and just like all of our brothers and sisters in the Dead Corps, and just making sure everybody's okay and everybody has what they need, you know?
Yeah. And I've said this before with my other guests on the show. I'm actually immune compromised, so I have to stay home. So I totally agree with you. I obviously in Texas, everything kind of just is on its head right now because everything is opening back up. Who knows how things will look like? This is Memorial Day weekend, for crying out loud. I don't know how things are going to look like a week from now, 2 weeks from now. So
14 days from now, let's see what's up.
Yeah, we got to touch back on that. You know, life as of late, obviously, many of us have also been away from the stage a lot, fans and musicians alike. Now that things may seem to have a light at the end of the tunnel, how have you been keeping up your, vocals and guitar chops these days, Tish? Is that affecting your musicianship? Has anything changed for you routine wise lately, if at all?
I think all of us in the band had just kind of dove into even more creative work. So I have a couple TV shows that I write songs for, kids shows. So the music hasn't stopped for me. If anything, it went from like, rehearsing with the band a couple times a week or touring or writing with the band, on a weekend workshop to now like day in, day out song crafting.
Yeah.
So for me, the creative experience did not die down at all. And we went straight from like, oh, we have more time on the album. So we kind of took the album back and we're like, okay, we're not releasing it. So I just took it and started messing with it for another few months and, just needling it to death. And I love it. I'm so excited about it. It's such a weird ride. But getting Corey on it, just like we had more time to do more stuff.
Of course.
And then as far as the creative, just haven't had to change up any routines because the with the downtime, I just threw myself more into the kids stuff, which is extremely fun and cool. And I got to sing. I wrote a song with my husband that I got to be the vocal on for The Barbarian and the Troll, which is a amazing, fun, awesome, hilarious show on Nickelodeon. And so I'm like I have this like metal theme song that I do at the beginning of that. So if anything, I think my voice is getting better because I'm just doing a bunch of really weird stuff.
You can see the smile on my face because I have an older brother who actually does exactly what you do. He writes songs for kids and he's a second grade teacher. And I love that you're doing that because I've been around that, and the fact that I see the reaction, the enthusiasm in you as you're talking about it. Yeah. I love that you have that like metal theme into that show. I do know that show actually. I'm gonna have to like check that out if that is out there for me to listen to.
I wrote all the songs in it.
That is awesome. I love that.
Yeah, it's a female barbarian, and it's puppets, and it's got lots of violence and yeah, lots of fighting, lots of great dry humor, kind of like a real Shrek kind of humor. The guy
you're checking this mental list off in my head, like okay, I'm definitely gonna dig this.
Really great. I mean, adults like it just as much as kids. That the guy that directed it did Lego Movie 2, which I think is one of the funniest kids movies.
So good. There. I own both of those movies actually.
In that vein, it's great.
Yeah, I feel like we could talk about that forever. We're gonna say that for a different conversation.
Side note, yeah. Anyway, yeah.
No, that's a great side note. I was gonna ask, with what you've been doing, trying to keep busy, obviously making the best of the situation, like we all have been doing for the last year and a half. You've been at this for nearly a decade. I know the Dead's got their start in 2013, roughly around there, and maybe even longer than that. I wanted to ask, how was
a little shorter than that? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I wanted to ask, how was the touring life and the live music experience for you personally, Tish? Because you've done some extensive touring. You've been played on cruises, for crying out loud. Mm-hmm. You've toured with the bands like some of my favorites, like Seether, Bush, Chevelle, Stone Sour, Hailstorm, and that list goes on. And now we've been forced to take this unexpected step back. And has this time lately made you develop a newfound appreciation for that touring life? Because we're talking about food, culture, fans. We could go on forever on what makes touring amazing. Like, what was your biggest personal takeaway from that life?
I think when we all came home, at first it was just an appreciation of home, and realizing how much we all do like being home and being with our families. But then at the same time, you do really, I think it's something we always really appreciated and really understood how blessed we were to get to experience. So the touring thing, we really put a focus on making it more than just the shows. And so I'm our overnight driver. So I would drive like all night just to get us to a town early so that we could do the national park there. Or definitely national parks are a big thing for us, but also, there's this vegan restaurant that's supposed to be incredible. Let's get there early so we can go to that, or whatever the case. We've always had a huge appreciation for the experiences outside of music that touring offers. So we do look forward to that happening again. And
Uh-huh.
also just the girl time, of just the three of us getting to be together and make memories and have fun and be silly. And I think I started playing shows and touring when I was like 15 or 16. So
Wow.
it's been a lot of great memories, of course. And yeah, I mean nothing but gratefulness for it. It's not easy.
No, of course not.
And especially when you're a baby band, which I've always been. So because I like to make weird music, which kind of keeps you a baby band forever. Like, how do you stay young forever? Be a band that's weird. You'll never get anywhere. But people like Corey Taylor, people like Lizzie Hale, Tom Peterson. There's people out there that are like, wait, this is different and this is something. And so bands will take us out because they're seeing something different and they're just like, oh, I just love seeing something different. Yes, come. But as far as making money off it or entering major labels, it's kind of like, I don't really understand what you're doing. So yeah, the touring always is at that baseline van and trailer level for us, so it does get a little it can get a little exhausting for sure.
Yeah. Another side note, I love vegan food. I know you mentioned that earlier. So anyway, I love that you mentioned that. And I feel like your band could pretty much be on lineup with any tour, because you guys tap into so many different subgenres. And here's something that you take to heart, because I was excited about this, because considering the fact that you, Daisy, and McQueen donned these X's painted over your eyes before heading on stage to perform, does that feel like you're taking on these different personas when you're playing live? Like, does it help with the presentation of who the Deads are?
I think so. I think it started as a whim, and it started before we ever even were the Deads. We played as the Dead Milkmaids, like a cover tribute thing, and just did Dead Milkmen songs. And we did the X's because we didn't have time to do zombie makeup and we wanted to look dead. Otherwise, we're just weird beer wenches. We had on these like milkmaid outfits. It would have been whack to not have some kind of like zombie makeup or something. So that's where the X's started. And we just kind of found a myriad of reasons why we liked them, both symbolic and physical. And I do think it helps brand us. You don't ever have a question of what band you're looking at when you see us.
Yeah.
Whenever we do like big tribute nights or something and we have the X's on, like no one's like, what band is that girl in? Like they just know. So, but as far as having personas, yeah, obviously we have our stage names, which, we're sisters and we have the last name Dead. So that's where that comes from. And, as far as being different people, I think so to a certain extent. I think our stage persona is a little different, but as far as like, being someone else, the stories you're getting and everything the audience is getting is pretty authentic, I would say.
Yeah, I'm a huge film buff, so like the way I see you guys is kind of like portraying the music in a visual presentation. And I love that you guys have that, and it's really cool that you guys just decided to just do the X's. We don't have time to do makeup, let's do X's. And look what happened, like it caught on. Speaking of which, you have this engaged fan club, this fan base that's been growing over the years and known as the Deadcore, like you mentioned earlier, and they also have the X's painted over their eyes. And you and the fans have really conjured up this true relationship across the states. There's definitely something special you have going on. When did that first like become an official thing, like the Deadcore? Like what goes through your head when you see such dedicated outpour like that?
Oh, just love. It's so beyond what we expected, just all the way around, the whole experience. But the Deadcore, we had, just fun little brainstorming sessions. Like when you start a band and everyone's in the room together, you're like, oh, we could do this or we could do that. And you've got women that are all in business. We're, marketing, and all of us had big girl jobs when we started the band. So it's not, you've got ideas, but then you have the like life experience to actually back that up with like a follow through with like creating the website, creating the merch, creating the branding, all this stuff. So we played our first show and had an EP for sale. So
Man.
because we had been in other bands. So this was just a fun thing, but we went through the motions as if it was a serious thing. And what happened was when you go through the motions of it being a serious thing, it just ends up a serious thing.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like manifested ahead of us. So I think the deadcore was just part of that. We were like, oh, like if we had a fan club, they would be like the deadcore, because that's like, it looks like dead corpse, and it's just like funny. I don't know, like that's cool. That's what our fan club would be called if we had one. And then this guy Kevin Jammer Dead, he started the deadcore page on Facebook, like a group. He kind of started it, and now him and this other guy Janice Dead run it, and they, you know, it just has grown, and they have their own forums where they talk that we aren't on. I've got on my phone, we have a community app where I can text everybody. They can text me. Our text is on our Instagram page for sure. I think it's on our Twitter, but you can literally just text me on there. And so we just keep track of each other. And my favorite thing about it is, you know, I personally like to be involved with a lot of.
I think I hear soup.
How did you hear that? Yeah.
Well, first things first, I had the timer actually on my laptop here, and then I heard the beep. I was like, okay, I got to make sure she's reminded.
Yeah.
Go get the soup.
Okay, I'll do that real quick.
You're good.
All I had to do was just dump in my potatoes.
That's okay. You're gonna think I'm crazy. I actually had a marker here. I was actually gonna mark my face if you had the X's on your eyes. I'm not even kidding. I was ready for that.
So that's a weird thing. Like we used to do nothing without X's. Like literally nothing. Do not appear without X's if you're gonna say that you're meta dead or whatever. And then, you know, it's weird. Like when we first started, it was so theatrical, and like each of the dead girls had like a look and like a thing. Like I had more of like a steam, because I was doomy dead, so it was like steampunk, like apocalyptic shit going on. And it's funny, like over time, like the music kind of overtook the theatrics.
Mm-hmm.
And so now it's more, I mean, every time I'm about to do an interview, I think about it like, am I gonna do it? Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, but it isn't so militant, I guess, because now also like we've done so many interviews and people know who we are and know what we look like. It's fine, like whatever. But
this is Tish. This is the Tish version. There you go.
Yeah, I guess. Especially with the pandemic too, like all of us are doing Zooms for like work and stuff. So it's like you can't just like, oh, I'm doing today. Like for instance, today on my schedule, I have like 2 interviews for the Deads and 3 work calls for TV shows. So I can't just be like putting X's on, wash them up, put them on, wash them up. So it's just kind of like you're gonna get whoever you get today. So it's Tish, but yeah, Meta Dead. It's.
I was gonna say, I also was gonna add, because you're talking about doing these interviews, and there was an interview, like I said, I mentioned it earlier as we were talking. You were interviewed by a deadcore member, Nameless Dead. I can't remember who it was. I think that was someone. I love that you have that. Like that's a thing. Like you have the fan club that gets to ask you, engage with you with all these questions, and again, that just ties into the lore of the Deads and how far you guys go as far as like the dedicated fan base.
Yeah, so I did want to say, like, we do a lot of we care a lot about mental health awareness, suicide prevention awareness, things like that, especially during the pandemic. That became very important. And so one of the greatest things about the Deadcore is they all kind of share a vision of, you know, the speed of the leader is the speed of the team, they say. So like if whatever the leader is doing, the team will follow. And what's happened for us is, because we are putting forth, you know, we care about equality and we care, you know, whatever these platforms are that we all care about, the Deadcore, we attract the people that also care about that stuff. And so we didn't make them care about it. Obviously, they are good, awesome people that care about what we care about. And so you can see it manifest in these incredible ways, like someone on Twitter saying, you know, I'm having a dark day today, and you've got 30 Deadcore just on there like, hey, here's my cell, hey, well, let's talk, like DM me, like
I love that,
you know, what's going on. And so it's really just an army of people that want to help each other, which is it gives me goosebumps. It's well beyond anything that we would have thought of when we were like, let's play a show and let's play hard rock because girls don't normally do that. It'll be fun. Like, so it's just crazy where it's come.
Yeah, I love that. It's just so many amazing things that you're touching on right now. And I know we talked about so many things like head to toe. We didn't even talk about the new album. I'm gonna get to that new album now. Tell your girls it's all right.
We're in the soup. I'm good to go. So D to G for another 30.
Comes out August 20th on Rumble Records. Man, it's exciting stuff. This is follow-up to the 2018 double EP, I believe, sketches and animation that you had. You also had For Your Obliteration or Rainbow, the Dead Shall Dance, that live album. Mm-hmm. With your sound, Tish, I gotta say this. It's been compared to the likes of obviously the Pixies. I love the Pixies, grew up on them, and Sonic Youth, the Killers, but you have your own identity here. You know, I heard that with those albums I mentioned and with these aforementioned singles like In for Blood, Hey Girlfriend, Deal With Me, and Murder Ballad Part 2. Like, I know it's the Deadheads, you know, it's who you are. Like, it's the perfect blend of, and when I talked about you checking off that mental list in my head, you know, there's a perfect blend of mental and grunge, even punk riffs. You even had hooks with like pop and indie elements mixed in there, and especially with your dynamic vocals. I mean, as far as melodies and harmonies and screams, I mean, you go above and beyond. For me, that's a good formula for making good music. I'm biased, but whatever, you know. Walk me through this. How much did things change from, you know, when you first started composing on Tell Your Girls It's All Right to where you ended up finishing it? Was there already a specific sound you guys knew you had in mind with this new album?
That's a good question.
Loaded question, I know.
I know, it's all good. I think we like to have a lot of colors in the paint box. And I think that's really what sets a lot of, as you know, as label intervention has become more and more and more over the decades, where it's more important that the mass majority of people like something as opposed to letting it be art. Our paint box gets smaller and smaller of what colors we're allowed to use. And they want you to pick, like, are you going to be using all blues? Or are you going to be using all reds? And it becomes very monochromatic sonically. So it's nice to, I think, the thing that happened with the Deadheads is we weren't signed, and we didn't think we would ever get signed. And so we weren't concerned with that. And so we were just using all the colors. And so with the new record, we really we'd had some exploration of like, okay, let's try to do something a little more radio and see, you know, is this even a thing? Do we have something? Do we not, you know, what's going on? So, you know, we did some exploration with things like that, but with Tell Your Girls It's All Right, we really wanted to get back to that rainbow vibe, where on the album Rainbow, we wrote that in a matter of weeks, a couple months, and we just didn't have rules about genre. And so we really wanted to put that forward again for this, which is our first vinyl. It's a double vinyl release. It's a big deal, you know, and we've got great guests on it, and it's getting great press. And so we were like, if this is our big come out, you know, as like, here's the best we have to offer, we wanted to kind of go back to those roots. So we did have that in mind as we wrote, of just like, don't write for any purpose other than, oh, is that an idea in your head? Let's play it. Oh, that? Okay, let's play that. No, it does go together though, doesn't it? I mean, it does, right? Like, we can make it go together. And so, yeah, we just pushed through like that. We started the writing process with Jonathan Gersitano, who's Dolly Dead. He toured with us for, I think, a year and a half. And then he went on to do a country gig. But like, I'm going to write with him again in a couple weeks. He's a dear friend of ours. And so when we started the writing process, he was still touring with us. So he wrote on a couple of these songs. My husband wrote on a couple songs because he's our producer. And yeah, just the vision was anything goes. And then in the end, we ended up adding a bunch of horns to it because, you know, Daisy plays trumpet. Yeah. And we had this idea of like, what if we wrote a song where you could play like trumpet and bass at the same time? Like, that would be dope. Like, how would we do that? So she's like, well, I could play trumpet like right-handed, and then if we did an open tuning or something, and so we wrote a song based around like an open tuning and how to implement a trumpet and bass live at the same time. And so then once we heard that song, we're like, well, let's put more horns on more songs. And so it's a horny record, you know, but then I watch and I do know why. I do know that that's sexual. And then it's not like do me dead. Then I'm watching the Billboard Music Awards a few days ago, and there's horns everywhere.
Mhm.
Everybody's got horns. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I guess we're all wearing neon again and baggy clothes and shoulders, and we got horns on everything. So
Yeah,
that's what's up with trends, and we're right in there.
It's all relevant. And you mentioned your husband. Is it Matt?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I knew about him. I know he worked with you on the last record before.
He's been working with us on several records in one capacity or the other, but this is the first one that he was like, okay, we were like, will you do a record for us? He's like, yes, but you have to be in a big studio. We got to have a budget. It's got to be like, he's like, I'm sick of piecemealing this crap together. Like, if we're going to do a record, I want to do a real record. And we were like, yes, sir. So we did what we were told.
Yeah, I'm sure there was that sense of comfortability in the studio for you girls, knowing that you had someone like Matt working on Tell Your Girls It's All Right. Because, you know, at least with the singles that I've been hearing, you know, it sounded very organic, sounded pure, sounded powerful. I heard everything as far as the instrumentals and of course your vocals. I'm an audiophile these days. I'm very picky on how I want my music to sound, the way I want to sound. There's so many EQ levels that I have to move around. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I'm sure there's that, because I wanted to ask about Matt, like if this is something that you want to stick with going forward. There is that convenience, you know. He's your husband. He loves the music you play.
I don't know if
it is. Well, I want to ask, like how much does he push you guys? Like, okay, no, that was bad, or it made you become a better musician.
Yeah, I think the thing about Matt is, first and foremost, I don't know that we really deserve him. Matt is kind of above our price point, and it's just wonderful that we get to work with him. The first time we worked with him, we weren't even dating, and we got the first. I got to backtrack. So when I was
you're married,
when I was 16, Matt's record. He was an artist at the time.
Yeah.
Matt's record was the first record I'd ever heard where I thought about how things sound as opposed to what was being played. And so he was 19 when he made that record. He made it all by himself, and he's just a genius of engineering and production and all that stuff. And he went on to, you know, do like Beck and Pink and Lupe Fiasco and all this stuff. Like, he's Keith Urban, he's a bee's knees, right? So it's when we first got him, Daisy and I had been like, that was a wish list thing, because we'd both been fans of his production since we were kids, basically. And we got him to do it. He did like 4 songs for us. So he did that Flying Saucers EP, which has like super tiny, fresh kicks, a couple other jams. And when we got that back, it was the first time we ever sounded like what we thought we wanted to sound like. We had no notes. We just were like, yep. So that's exactly what we've been wanting. And so ever since then, we've just, especially for, you know, for the 3 of us, we all just trust. There's just such a huge trust level there that, yeah, it would be hard we could definitely work with someone else and that would be fun. But there is a trust level with Matt that we wouldn't have with anyone else. He just knows what we're supposed to sound like. And so we don't have to nitpick anything. Yeah. We get basically no notes when we get mixes back from him. It's like, oh, yep, exactly. That's what's up. So yeah.
Shout out to Matt, because he went above and beyond with this. Now, I'm obviously, you knew this was coming. I'm going to throw another name at you. Corey Taylor, obviously. Corey motherfucking Taylor. Murder Ballad Part 2. Now, I saw it, loved it, hit repeat. What was that experience like, bringing in someone like him into your world of making music? Did that make the process that much easier?
It was just really easy. That's the best way I can describe it. We started being friends on Twitter when he became a fan of the band. I think also through Twitter, just people just throwing our stuff at him like, you would love this, you would love this. I think that's how that happened. And eventually we just started chatting on Twitter. He's like, I love this record, like, great job, you're an incredible songwriter. And I was like, you too, whoa. So then long story short, we end up doing one show with them in New York, which leads to a tour with them, which leads to a friendship that led to him, basically co-signing us for this, just being like, yeah, guys, I'm trying to tell you, I like them. So here, I'll just sing on a song to show you that I do really, truly like them. I feel like that's kind of what he did, was he just wanted to really endorse, and that the best way to endorse is to perform with. So it was I feel like it's a big favor. But also it felt very easy. So we just, when the idea came up to do it, we emailed back and forth about what we wanted to do. And then we just shot videos back and forth, not even like on FaceTime, just he's like, here's what I'm thinking, send me a video. Then I'm like, that's cool. Here's what I'm thinking. So the song he wrote, kind of like the intro part, the and it's like, this is not something the Dead would normally play. It was very swingy. But we needed that. Like, that's the whole point of co-writing, is so someone brings something to the table that you wouldn't normally do. We're like, and this was very, roots rocky and bluesy. And that's not normally what we do. But our drummer is real dope at that stuff. So it turned into like, she's like, well, yeah, this is my wheelhouse. This feels great. And, so we worked on the lyrics together, and then I came up with that bridge, like where it ends and it goes dun dun dun, dun, dun. Then bringing in the Dead there, and so it just kind of became this really neat thing. And then he sent us one track of vocals, just nailed this track, and then I just built everything around it. So
I felt like with Murder Ballad Part 2, it really allowed both of you, like Corey Taylor and the Deadettes, to tap into a whole new musical dimension that you may not have been able to tap into before, because the chemistry between you and Corey was uncanny in that song. And something that I did want to touch on, because between writing and structuring the songs and the production process, like just talked about, the lyricism throughout Tell Your Girls It's All Right, I begin to think if there was a reason why you guys chose the singles that you did before the release, like if there was a theme to this, because for Murder Ballad Part 2, for fans and followers who don't know, it's a continuation from Murder Ballad 1, from For Your Obliteration, if I'm correct. The story of the two lovers who are dead but are now ghosts. Absolutely love what you did with that. But then you also have a song like Deal With Me, which is the message conveying no matter what different sets of expectations lie ahead. For example, me, you're just gonna have to deal with me, who I am as a person, which is a great message, especially today. So I want to ask Tish, I want to round it out to this question here. How important are themes or concepts for you guys? And to what level do you like to have something like that for your music? Is that more about helping you guys write or sound, or is that more for the audience? Because a lot of artists, they don't really care about themes. They just do 10 songs in the studio and that's it. But I felt like with this, you guys really, I felt like there was something you wanted to convey with that, as far as that is concerned. Like, if you did come up with a theme beforehand, or if it's just like a go with the flow attitude. Again, loaded question. I'm throwing a lot at you right now.
That's all good.
I just want you to get to your soup. That's it.
No, it's, the soup's for dinner. The soup's for like 4 hours from now. I just needed to get. Okay. Wow. Yeah. So I don't mind circular questions, because I have ADHD. So I'm like, yes, I know how to answer all that. I will just go around the horn and get to all that. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do I care about themes and lyrics? Yes. Like 100. That's cool. Everything. The band as a whole loves Easter eggs, love callbacks, love 70s album rock, love like concepts, love progressive ideas, love aliens, love earth science, love everything. So we want to put like all these books we're reading, like whatever we're doing, we want to put all that into a record. So Tell Your Girls It's All Right was definitely, we all wanted to do a feminine, high energy, intense record that just like threw a bunch of shit in your face and was like, think about all this, listen to all this. there is a line in the record that says, again and again, it just starts to get under your skin, the feeling that you have to fight for your fucking life. Tell your girls it's all right. And that's where that title came from. And also at the another song in the record, the very last line of the song, which is Cure for Life, which is on our live record. It says, you can wear your pearls, you can tell your girls it's all right, you can have a pop, you can dust yourself off, it's all right. So we really like trying to just put forth, and those songs kind of bookend the record. It's really, we wanted a message of like, everything's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And especially during during an era of politics that felt very anti-woman in a lot of respects. We just wanted everyone to know it was, especially in Tennessee, is a tough place to be. Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, these are like tough places to be a young lady sometimes, and feel like you don't have control of your own body and your own decisions and all that stuff. We wanted to just send a message of like, it might not be fun, but everything's going to be okay. And so that was the overarching theme of all the songwriting. And we're putting out a double vinyl. There's 200 copies that have 4 extra songs, which are very political in nature, that are not on the record proper.
Right. So, and I don't want to sound political, but I'm going to throw Texas to that list too. I mean, I've had friends who struggle, with everything that you're talking about, and
it starts to hurt. It starts to hurt.
It does. You
have the feeling that you have to fight for your life, and then it's not, and it's not fair, and it's not cool, and it's not right. And we just want to let everyone know, women and men, whoever, whatever you are, that it's okay, and you can just be you. Everyone's going to deal with you just the way you are. And also that we have each other's backs. That's what Hey Girlfriend is about. It's like, we're not in competition. We're sisters, and we're gonna, we might fight all night, and we're gonna fight for what we deserve and what we need. So
I don't think I've ever looked forward to a date like August 20th more than now, because you're really like touching on a lot of positive things, at least for me, at least. The
records are really uplifting. It's supposed to be an uplifting journey, which everyone really needs right now. Need a bunch of, God, I love a sad bastard song as much as the next guy, but that's just not what we need right now. So even songs like, we have an acoustic song on the record called Dead Inside, and even a song with a message or a title that dark, that's just a love letter to the deadcore. And it says, I've never felt so alive now that I'm dead inside. And it's about like just, living with your sadness, but not letting it end you, so we're always trying to have that silver lining. We always have. We're never just going to come in and be like, everything's fucked in, we should all die. Like, it's like, if you want to write that, that's really cool. People need that. But
I think we have enough bands doing that. And then they're still doing it, for crying out loud. Let them do what they're going to do.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I love Bad Flower. People need that. They need the darkness, but we're bringing a different kind of darkness,
Yeah.
So, and I would love to do a tour with them. I think that would be like a really good, like, here's those guys and us started like,
wow, I didn't even think about it. That would be a really great tour, actually.
We started breaking around the same time. We have really similar influences. They've just taken it in a different path than we have, but the bands I feel like are super similar, just in a lot of levels. So yeah, it's like, I definitely do not begrudge anyone talking about dark stuff, because I love doing that. It's just, that's not our message on this record. We're speaking for the ladies, and we're saying some different stuff,
Yeah. And you're going to do what you're going to do. And I would love to see that tour, actually. I mean,
that would be fun, right?
Yeah, this will be on all major podcast streams out there. So if you're listening, get that tour.
I think, I saw them with the Rex, because we're buddies with the Rex. And
okay.
We were, I think maybe in Baltimore or something, and we popped in and I saw their set, and I was like, damn, this really feels like, it's hard to find bands that seem like, that remind me of us. It's hard to find that. You can like, people are like, who should you tour with? I'm like, anybody. We can tour with anybody, because we do all the genres. But that band, I was like, they're really pulling a lot of the same stuff we are. They're just pulling it a little more tightly together than we are. But
Yeah.
it felt like a home base for sure.
You remember what I said earlier? How I said like I knew it was you guys, like the sound, the who you are, the whatever, the image, music, everything you put together. If there are bands who don't sound like a lot like you, the way you guys do things, I think that's a good thing. I mean, it
Yeah.
really makes you stand out. I mean, again, I'm one of a million fans out there, but I just want to put that out there.
Yeah, thanks.
And another thing, I know we touched on this, very barely touched on this. Nashville, where you're at, the local music scene. I was wondering about Nashville. It's such a rich history. Of course, we know bands like Paramore and Red, Lady A, Diamond Rio, Lone Star. How has that scene changed through your experience?
Oh, I really love the Nashville music scene, and I think how's it changed like since I've lived in Nashville? Or
Yeah, how long have you been living in Nashville?
um I was born in Chattanooga, Tennessee, so I've always been
Okay.
but Nashville proper since 2010. So
Okay. Roughly a
I,
decade.
yeah, I think Nashville's rock scene's incredible. I think there's not very many places in the country where I would say there's nowhere in the country where you can facilitate an accidental band just by, being somewhere and you leave there and have a band. The concentration of excellent players that are also super sweet and like willing to play with anyone is just a Nashville kind of brand. Like it's just, we're all kind of in it together. It's a mixed pot. Like people will be in 6 different bands. It's all really, I find it very like loving, like
Yeah.
supportive. And we always have these great kind of underground punk and metal things that surface that, like whether it's like Bully or Yautja, or there's really cool music happening here that pops out.
Yeah.
And goes all the way.
Yeah, well said. And I know we're running out of time here. I don't want to keep you for too long, Tish. I can't believe we're about to reach an hour. From the different experiences and perspectives in your timeline that you have taken in, which we have discussed about so far, playing for as long as you have, and the people you have met and worked with during these records, including the multiple touring cycles and different bands, your relationship with your bandmates and the dead core, or dead corpse, we could call that. And it sounds like you still have much left to put out there with the Dead's artistic vision and yours. This is definitely something you have a passion for. And the truth is, from what I'm seeing, you've experienced plenty already in career, Tish, and then some. Have your aspirations as an individual, or even a musician, have they changed or evolved since when you first started performing in the industry? Like, do you see things differently today?
I think I always just thought I'd do this and I'm never going to get anywhere with it, but I do it because I have to. So I just kind of still feel that way. So I would say not really. I think when we first, with the Dead specifically, I think when we first started, we were like, ooh, maybe one day we could take this to a club and play a show. And then 6 months later, we were on a national tour with Hailstorm. And then 6 years later, we have a duet with Corey Taylor, the, king of hard rock and metal. So I think our goals are still the same, which is just make awesome stuff. So I don't know. We have bucket list, which is fun, and we've crossed most of them off. But I'll tell you what's remaining is late night television, European music festivals, and there's one other one. We have 3 more things left.
What was that third one?
Major label deal.
Oh, so, hey, none of that seems not possible at this point.
Yeah, we've actually said no to a couple of major labels. So I feel like that's why it was hard to remember, because it's like, well, that's not really. But yeah, the late night TV we haven't done, and the European festivals. So those are 2 that I feel like are within our grasp, especially if the record does well. So
I look forward to that time, and that'd be a really cool thing to see you guys. Oh, hey, look at that bucket list is checked off. I do begin to wonder, like, as you're telling me this, if you weren't a musician, what would you be doing right now? Has that ever crossed your mind?
I guess not really for any of us, because we all have other career paths that we were successful in before we were in the Deads.
Yeah.
So like all of us have played music our whole lives, and all of us have had jobs our whole lives. So I'm retired now, but I was a stylist for 2 decades. So I did wardrobe styling, hairstyling, makeup, all that stuff. But really that job is that's just life coach therapist with like a service. And I think what I liked about it was the talking and the helping more than I actually liked the physical part of it. Was more just like the relationship that you build with people. So yeah, I guess I would just I think I would really like to be I would really like to direct,
Awesome.
Yeah, stuff like I like telling people what to do.
The
life coach, the director.
I did floor directing when I was in film school for 3 years out in Cali, so I can definitely relate to that. It's always interesting to hear other interests that feeds your creativity within what you do. I love that question. Now, before we finish things off here, I usually ask my guests like, what are your like favorite 5 things? Since we did kind of just touch on movies a little bit, do you have 5 favorite movies you can think of at the top of your head? By the way, I'm going to go and name one on my list, Aliens. I believe you guys love the Alien movie anthology because you guys did post about LD426 on Alien Day. Anyway, 5 favorite movies you can think of at the top of your head. Go.
Okay. Mars Attacks.
Oh my gosh.
Which, I mean, I don't know if you can see, but up in that corner, I have not only a Mars Attacks. Awesome. Well, I'll just bring it over.
Okay, cool.
I have a couple awesome things. One, I have this.
Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh.
And then I also have this, which was custom made.
I'm just in awe right now. That's amazing.
Yeah, that is dope. And I also have a painting up there, like a hotel painting that someone added a spaceship and a Mars Attacks dude to, which is really cool.
Holy crap. I remember seeing that as a kid. That still freaked me out. Even today, like it takes me back to when I saw it as a kid. But Mars Attacks is a classic growing up.
So creepy. So I love Tim Burton. I feel like Corpse Bride might be another one.
Okay.
I'm just gonna list a bunch of cartoon musicals. So
that's okay. Let's
take all the cartoon musicals away. Let's just cartoon musicals.
Okay, no cartoon musicals. I'm putting you on the spot here, aren't I? Okay.
That's my jam. Yeah, and I just feel like I would be like Moana, Aladdin, just anything Howard Ashman wrote for Disney. So let's take all that off the table.
Okay.
I love musicals. So let's say, Mars Attacks, Gentlemen Broncos.
Okay.
Do you know that?
No.
You know Napoleon Dynamite?
Yeah, I love that movie.
The next movie they made after Napoleon Dynamite, Gentlemen Broncos.
Is it the Hess brothers? Jonah Hess? No. What's it? What the directors? Yeah, right? That was them. Yeah, the Hess brothers. Okay.
No. I don't remember. My husband's like super into movies. I am not desperately into movies, but I do watch a lot of movies.
Okay.
But Mars Attacks, Gentlemen Broncos is just I love Sam Rockwell so much, and he plays 2 different characters in that movie. And I love Jermaine Clement, and he's in that movie. So it's just like a wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Watch it 10 times. It's too good.
Okay, Sam Rockwell. I think that you kind of just tapped into that for me right now because I love Sam Rockwell.
Yeah. Obviously, dumb one, but like Carrie Ellis, Princess Bride. Duh.
That's not a dumb one. That's a classic. That's a great movie.
If you don't like that movie, I just don't know. Team America, World Police, anything really Trey Parker, Matt Stone. I love basketball. I love anything that they did. I love Cannibal the Musical. Again,
they don't make movies like that anymore. I'm just gonna put that out there. Movies like that, that's true.
We're in a different time now, so
right
now we're in a very socially sensitive time. So I think it's just not the right time for that stuff. But but it doesn't change the fact that it moved me. So am I there yet, or do I need one more?
I think you got like 5 or 6 in there, so that's okay.
Okay, good. Yeah, but basically you can see I'm a silly, wacky person, and there's movies that have had a lot of depth and and I used to be really into these dark, heavy indie films. And then it was weird. After my mom passed away, it was like, I don't need that anymore. I just feel different. And now I just want to, like, does it have aliens? Does it have explosions? I love apocalyptic end of the world stuff. Like, I just, if like national monuments and things blow up, I love that. So I think I've become pretty basic. I'm just like sci-fi or kid stuff.
If you have HBO Max, I highly recommend Greenland. If you haven't seen it already, that's with Gerard Butler and Miranda Backer. It's brand new. It's an apocalyptic film. Shit happens, like things like it's the end of the world type of movie. A comet comes and hits the world. That's
would you say it's doomy?
It's doomy. I'd say it's doomy. Yeah. Yeah.
Like much.
Man, Tish, this has been such an honor. Obviously, we'll do this again when you guys come to Dallas. Looking forward to the day when that happens. Do you have any, last words, any shout outs, is anything you'd like to plug in or mention as far as the Dead, or tell your girls it's all right before we finish things off here? Nope.
Guys, just be nice to each other.
Yeah.
Crazy world out there. Just be nice to each other.
The best message you can ever get. And everyone, this is Tish, aka Metadead from the Deads. Tell your girls it's all right. Drops August 20th on Rumble Records. And if you could, everyone out there, purchase the record. I mean, it's a simple request. The bands can't do it without your help, obviously. I still buy records that's sitting in the corner of my room. Don't forget, you can listen to this podcast on all major podcast streams. Check us out on interviewunderfire.com. Tish, you stay safe out there in Nashville. Really happy to see the path that you guys have been on. Really proud of you guys. You stay safe, and I'll talk to you soon, okay?
Sounds great. What a fun time. Talk to you later.
Enjoy your soup, all right?
Oh, I will.
All right, take care.
Bye.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to Interview Under Fire podcast. If you guys liked what you heard, please subscribe and share our channel. And please leave a 5-star review, as that helps us tremendously. If you'd like to check out more, visit www.interviewunderfire.com or our social media channels on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And finally, we want to thank you all for the support you've been giving us. Keep it burning.